Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the workshop. It's fantastic to have you here. We're joined by the fantastic Kurt Harland, as well as the infamous Will Stelter, who are going to be taking the helms on this video as they take you along the journey of building one gorgeous dagger and one beautiful hunting knife. Outstanding.
Before we jump in, we'd like to thank today's sponsor, which is Squarespace. They're an online website building platform that is super easy to use. You can try it for free with a free trial when you go to squarespace.com/forge, and you'll also get 10% off your first purchase with code FORGE. Thank you, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video. Let's jump right in. So as you guys saw in the last episode, we forged the Damascus, we forged our blades, we did a little bit of profiling, and we annealed them. My next step is going to be taking this dagger blade and forging out the tang a little bit longer. It's a little bit short right now, just so we're going to be able to thread it for the pommel on the end. And Kurt, what do you got going on?
I am going to profile the edge to 120 so that it's at the right shape I want it at before I grind the bevels. And then I'm going to clean up the flats.
So here's where we're at. Kurt has done a ton of work to the camp knife. Kurt, what'd you do to it?
So I profiled the edge and back here on the spine, and I profiled this swedge here up to 120, and then I rough ground and finished the flats, and then put holes and fullered the tang to lighten it up, and it is ready for heat treating.
Awesome, and I fired up the Paragon heat treating oven, and so it's ready to have that thrown in there. You also saw I made a paper template, which Kurt turned into a steel template, and then we scribed that onto the actual dagger blade itself, so we have it kind of pretty much exactly where we want it right now, which is really good. I'm gonna go into the grinding room, get this thing profiled up, do some light bevels on there. We don't wanna do it too heavy, we wanna keep it pretty thick for heat treat, just so that it doesn't warp at all whatsoever, because we really don't have a whole lot of room for anything like that. So Kurt's gonna heat treat that while I profile this and get it ready for heat treat.
Do that next time. You can always pretend that was on purpose.
We got the knives in the tempering oven. It's gonna crank up to 400 degrees.
Which is a great temperature for tempering small knives.
Well, those are tempering over here. We're coming back to work on a couple other pieces. We've got to make the guard and on the pommel, and we're gonna make that out of this slab of meteorite that our friend Patrick Adair gave to us a while ago when he came to visit. Kurt's gonna cut out the guard, and I'm going to work on the pommel.
So we had a slight problem with the guard. As I was grinding into it, a piece of it just sort of fell off because it was really close to where the scale was on the side of this meteorite, and there was just a natural crack in there. And so instead of doing meteorite for the guard and pommel, we're going to be using bronze, aluminum bronze, which will still look awesome.
I'm going to cut a piece of bronze and get started turning it on the lathe. Okay, so we've got a lot done. We've got the pommel turned, the guard is shaped, the tang is threaded, the flats here are cleaned up.
So we're ready to get this guard slotted and then cleaned up the rest of the way on the top, and then possibly even shaped a little bit.
Yep, we've got to make a meteorite spacer for it, so we're basically gonna repurpose that guard that fell apart. We're just gonna chop off the lugs on either side, thin it down a little bit, flatten it out, and make it into a spacer, so it'll be a nice little spacey accent. So our next step is going to be working on slotting the guard and making that spacer. So as you guys saw last night, I milled out the slot in the guard. Kurt worked on turning that old meteorite guard that ended up falling apart into a spacer, and he crowned the end of the pommel to give it some nice texture for being able to tighten down on the handle. What we're gonna work on this morning is getting the rest of the pieces ready for fit up. So we need to poke holes in the spacer, we need to poke a hole in the handle, Kurt needs to grind on the blade, get those bevels dialed in, get it ready for hand sanding, ready for etch. He's gonna be grinding the blade. I'm gonna be working on poking holes in things. Let's do it. So, I ended up trying to tap that meteorite guard on just a little bit, and I decided it wasn't having any of that and it was going to crack instead. So it's time to make a new one. So I looked at the stock of meteorite that we had, and I just don't think we have anything that's going to work very well. It's all got kind of those really small cracks running through. I'm just worried we're going to run into the same issue as that. Thankfully, we have a suitable replacement. This is Fossilized Walrus Ivory. So it's from the very, very old tusk of a walrus, and it's just got this beautiful creamy white color with kind of a nice herringbone pattern running through it. So I'm going to cut out a chunk of this and mill my slot.
Okay, so I am ready to move on and start working on this camp knife, and I've got these ironwood scales that I just cut. They are straight enough that I'm just going to flatten them out and put them on each side. They're match booked. Should look awesome. Okay, so I've gotten this blade to 400 grit. I'm about to etch it in the ferric chloride and get it polished up and completely etched before gluing the scales on.
So we've got all of the parts and pieces fit up now. The guard is fitting wonderfully. The spacer is fitting nice. The handle is there as well. We just removed a little bit of material off of the back of the handle so that these threads would catch. And bam. That'll do it.
Looking good.
Mm-hmm. Wowza. That's the only word for it.
Also banger.
Also banger. And we just got to build some awesome knives that are a cool blend of the two of ours kind of unique style. So it's just such a fun week. Kurt, thank you so much for coming. What a blast.
It's been a great opportunity.
We're going to go ahead and head home so that Kurt can get an hour of sleep before he flies out in the morning. So again, thank you guys. Before we end it, we just want to say thank you to today's sponsor. And today's sponsor is Squarespace. Squarespace is an online website building platform that makes it really, really easy to build a website even if you have no coding experience whatsoever.
That is right. And that's why we love Squarespace. By the way, incredible work on those blades.
Thank you.
They
incredible
are
work on that
unbelievable.
spin right there, Alec. That was amazing.
It was a good spin. Thank you. And a big thank you is, of course, owed to Kurt for coming out. We're super, super grateful. But anyway, one of my favorite things about Squarespace is that it's an all-in-one package. Did you know that?
I did know that because I bought my domain and I've kept up with everything just through one website. It's super, super handy. They have an online 24-hour live chat support, which is fantastic because you don't have to go anywhere and contract the coronavirus in order to get good customer service.
Exactly, and that's very important to Squarespace, is customer service. What's also important is that their websites look beautiful on mobile as well as PC, and that's something that's really difficult with website design, but every single one of all the templates that Squarespace offers for you to build your website on are going to work seamlessly with either one or the other. You can put your products up for sale with Squarespace, you can even generate email subscribers and communicate and build relationships with them through Squarespace's new email marketing tool. There's no patch-ins, plugins, upgrades, none of that stuff, ever. Once you build that website and you make it look beautiful, you're good to go. So big thank you is owed to Squarespace for sponsoring this video, making this all possible. Be sure to go to squarespace.com/forge to get yourself a free trial where you can experience Squarespace, or you can use code FORGE at checkout to get 10% off your first purchase. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Oh.